Hey everyone, it's Leonette. Welcome to DIY Beauty on Purpose. Today I am bringing you 3 thrift store flips I can't wait to show you. All right, so we begin with this magazine holder. It is iron, it is strong, and yeah, so the goal is to give it a farmhouse, kind of like a farmhouse boho look. So I am going to take it outside and spray paint it with the Rustoleum spray paint in the flat white, and I'm going to give it 2 nice coats. It's very warm outside, so it did not take long at all to dry, which is nice. And I am not overly concerned with full coverage, even though I do want it to have enough coverage, of course, because I will be distressing it. So I am using a 220 grit sandpaper. This is just very lightly. I'm not even making a lot of pressure, and I'm starting lightly, and the more I see it, then the more I start to press. So it's better to just start lightly and then just kind of go from there. But the reason why I distressed it is 2 things. I love the look. I love it gives it dimension. It just doesn't look so flat. But also, it's very forgiving. With wear and tear, if it scratches here and there, you're not even going to know. So to keep things nice and, or the paint at least nice and secure, I am spraying it with a top coat from Rustoleum chalked paint line. This is clear matte. It's just going to seal everything in. All right, so here's what I want to do. I am going to be threading. This is ribbon or I don't know, a strip from a hat. These are Dollar Tree hats. They look almost like Easter hats. And if you tear the seam off and you just pull them apart, this is what you get. I used them for another project I recently did, and I had so much left over. And here's what I'm doing. I'm just going to thread it in and out through all these mesh-like sides. And yes, it was tedious. And yes, it took me a while. However, look how beautiful it looks. I just love the way it just fills it in and it just looks so lovely. And I'm going to do that on both sides. So it took me about, not horribly long, about 40 minutes to do both sides, which is not bad. And as I ran out of ribbon, I just hot glued it and joined them together. Would you follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Before you turn away, I just want you to know that I didn't throw your stuff away. All right, guys, so now moving on to DIY number 2. So this is a fruit basket I got at the thrift store. Very inexpensive. It was tagged $2.99, but I actually got it for $1.50, which was pretty cool. What I'm going to try to do with this is give it a very farmhouse look. I don't mind the wicker kind of basket look. However, I just want to brighten it up, and I am going to paint it. So I am taping the straps, though, the handles, because they are, I don't know if they're real leather or faux real leather or faux leather. However, I just like the way they look. I like the texture and the color. So I am going to tape them. Oh my God, using painter's tape just to make sure there's no paint. And a little bit got through in the little edges, but I was fine with that. So once I was done taping, I then started to paint with Rustoleum chalk paint in the linen white. I'm using my chippy brush. I originally thought I would just do like a dry brush effect. And then I said, no, I'm just going to fully paint it. And that's what I did. I'm glad I did too. The chalk paint has very good coverage. So it almost needed just the 1 coat. However, I ended up putting 2 because in some places you can see the wood through. And a lot of times the wood absorbs a lot of the paint. But in this case, it actually worked really well. But I did give it 2 coats. And I kept it as full as possible. And I did not distress it. Surprisingly, I thought maybe I can do like a dry brush distress with maybe like a grayish or something, but I liked the way it turned out, so I didn't distress it. And then, of course, once everything was nice and dry, oh, I did paint the inner or the inside rim, but I didn't paint the inside of the basket. I just thought it just gave it some cute dimension. But I did paint the rim for two reasons. One, because paint got on it, if I'm being honest. But two, I think it actually looked pretty cool, just painting it, just the rim. And then I decided to take some scrap fabric. This is a very unique fabric. I got it from burlapfabric.com. They sent it to me, and I have used it here and there in some of my projects, and I just thought it would be a perfect texture because it kind of gets like flared up on the sides. So if you pull some of the thread, it just kind of gives it that very distressed threaded look, and I just really like that. So, and then originally, I don't know why I'm taping it already because I should have measured it on the basket first because I do need to cut it. So here I am realizing that I should put it on the basket and measure the length, of course. So once I know how much to cut, or at least I'm just kind of going slowly because at this point I know kind of what I want to see, but I'm just kind of taking it slowly so that I'm not cutting too much and then regretting it. But yeah, so I need to cut a little bit more because it's just way too low. And then, so the goal, what I want to do, I saw this on Pinterest. This is Pinterest inspired. And I wanted to stencil on the fabric, just a farmhouse kind of theme stencil. And so originally I wanted to tape it on the piece of paper so that I can stencil it nicely and not move around. However, it didn't work out. It wasn't wide enough and the tape was just in the way of the stencil. So I ended up just having to do it without the tape. But it was fine. It didn't move too much. It moved a little, but stenciling on fabric, you don't get a lot of bleed through because the fabric absorbs the paint before it bleeds through. But so it was fine. It didn't move on me at all. But so I'm using Rustoleum chalk paint and the country gray. I thought it would be very subtle and very nice gray to stencil it. And I am using a sponge stenciling brush. And this stencil, I believe I think it was Packet Hands before it went out of business here locally. So I wouldn't have a link for you, but I've used it in several of my projects and I really like it. I've used portions of it like I'm doing here. I've used the whole thing, and it actually came with another stencil with it with numbers, and it's pretty cool. I really like this stencil. It has a very farmhouse look to it. So then once the paint was dry, I took these upholstery thumbtacks, and I think that's what they're called, but they have this really long spiky thing, so I'm cutting that off with my wire cutters too because I'm going to hot glue them, because if I poke them through, it'll just poke through the other side, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go grab the ones that flew away as I cut them. And then so now I'm here going to attach everything to the basket using hot glue, and the fabric attaches so well to hot glue. I love using it. And basically I thought about just hot gluing on the corners, but then I thought I'm just going to hot glue all around the edge because it'll make it nice and straight and it'll stretch it out kind of, and I don't want it to look wrinkled or anything like that. So I'm just going to secure it all around the edges. I gotta say, that basket looks so cute. Again, I love that wicker natural wood look, but painted, it just, I don't know, I just love white, so it's just my preferred color. All right, so now I'm going to attach those upholstery tags and with hot glue. I mean, it doesn't take much to secure it to the fabric, and then we'll be done with this one, and I absolutely love, love, love the way this turned out. Would you stay till the morning light, or would you follow me, or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right.
find the remedy, or would you stay with me now till the morning light? Before you turn away, I just want you to know that I didn't throw your stuff away. Before you make up your mind that I'm nowhere to find.
Alright guys, so for my third and final DIY, I am going to take this bottle. Used to be an eggnog bottle, and I found it at the thrift store for 99 cents, which I thought was a really great deal. At first I thought I can remove the writing using nail polish remover, and that didn't work. So I took it outside and spray painted it using Rustoleum spray paint in the cinnamon. This is their satin finish, and it gave it that terracotta cute look. This is very unusual for me. Normally I go with my whites, as you know, but I am trying to just kind of think more fallish here in the next few weeks. So this is just me trying out some new colors. But yeah, once it was dry, I actually ended up just giving it one coat. It had really good coverage. It was a pretty heavy coat, but not too heavy where it was dripping, but it did cover very well. I brought it inside, and now I'm using a new mop that I got at the Dollar Tree for this particular purpose, to use for my DIYs. I've seen other DIYers use mops for their decorations, and I had yet to use it, so this is a great opportunity to do so. I removed the base of the mop, and now I have these strands to work with, and I'm going to hot glue strands to just on the upper portion of the bottle, basically on the neck of the bottle. But I'm not going to put strands beyond the rim that you see there on top. I'm going to hot glue strands just all the way up to that rim portion. And then I decided it just needed a little something more. So I made a tassel. I'm going to make a tassel using the same strands from the mop. And so yeah, basically I'm sure you've seen other DIYers do a tassel, but just in case, you just take some strands and you line them up. And then you take another strand and you just put it across from it, and then you just fold it in half. And then you take another strand, and then you want to use that to tie on the top. And then this tie here needs to be very tight, and I was not able to be successful with it because the strand broke on me. So mop strands do not tighten very well. As you can tell, it broke on me. But for the time being, I decided to just keep the strand just for now and tighten it lightly just until I finish the tassel. However, I did have to change it. So I did take a different strand from somewhere else that was stronger so that I can tighten it well enough to tighten and have the tassel look that I wanted. But I am now going to separate the strands from each thicker strand. That way it has a fuller, wavier look to it. Now, I did end up having to remove strands and also shorten the strands. The tassel was just way too big for the bottle, and I didn't realize it at the time. I was making it only when I brought it next to the bottle. It's like, oh yeah, that's too big. So I ended up removing strands and shortening them to make a smaller tassel. But other than that, it's the same process. I just basically shortened it, removed tassels, made it thinner, and then I used a different strand of string to tighten that top portion so it was nice and tight. So here I am now going to place the tassel on the bottle, and yeah, I'm just going to secure it in the back with a knot, but again, not tightening it too much because I don't want it to break on me. But once that was done, I was done with this DIY. It was just such an easy DIY and so beautiful. It has that fall look and that boho farmhouse look to it that I really, really am liking. But this is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so appreciative that you take the time to watch. I hope you enjoy the video, and I hope it inspires you to create your own DIYs, maybe using some thrift store finds. And if you're visiting for the first time, I want to welcome you and ask that you consider subscribing and becoming part of our YouTube family. And if you are returning, Thank you so much for coming back, and I hope you have a blessed day.
Would you stay till the morning light? Or would you follow me? Or would you let it be? If I leave tonight, we could do this right. We'll find the remedy. Or would you stay with me?